Life, Sentiments and Realities by Chris Uyi. Narrated by Adrian Galley. This is the second of a two-part audiobook recording. The first half can be found elsewhere on this site. 6. Patience. I quote, "But let patience have its perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, lacking nothing." Unquote. The Holy Bible. And I quote, "O you who have believed, seek help through patience and prayer. Indeed, Allah is with the patient." Unquote. Quran 2:153. And I quote, "Adopt the pace of nature. Her secret is patience." Unquote. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Patience is for the strong. Patience is for the brave. It is the mark of complete maturity, the bedrock of all virtues, a shining star in the crown of wisdom, a divine character to be acquired by humans, the test of endurance. For all growth and sustainable progress is usually a slow but steady process. Patience is an acquired virtue, for no one is born patient. It is an armor by which we defend our sanity and ward off the evil arrows that cause regrets from rash decisions and unnecessary mistakes. It is a godly character, for once you master time, you enter the realm of the immortal. Impatience, by all judgments, is weakness, and if your decisions and actions are constantly based on it, mistakes, losses, and regrets are inevitable. People usually expect things to happen in their own time, and may very well find this is so in seasons of good tidings. As it is said, time flies while having fun. That further buttresses the point that patience is for seasons of low tides, difficulties and setbacks. In difficult times, time seems to stop moving, or becomes unbearably slow. But if you have done all that you have to do, why worry? We must, however, bear in mind that patience is not in any way leaving things to chance, for leaving things to chance is a recipe for disaster. We must not confuse patience with laziness. Laziness is waiting when nothing has been done, and the harvest of laziness is destitution. But when the needful has been done, then we must wait. As Warren Buffett says, I quote, "No matter how great the talent or efforts, some things just take time. You can't produce a baby in 1 month by getting 9 women pregnant." End quote. It is insanity to be envious of the man harvesting maize in a few months after planting, when you have planted a mango tree. Harvests, most times, are in relation to quality and quantity. As wise men say, good things take time. So if you must receive the good, it is necessary to endure the bad. After all, joy would not feel as good if it were not for pain, and every once in a while we are required to wait to acquire what we desire. To strike well our goals, we must be patient, for patience gives us stability and a better perspective of our goals. Patience is not just the ability to wait, but the ability to keep a good disposition while waiting. Anyone that has mastered patience is firm, and is a master of self and everything else. All the forces of nature are subject to the patient one. Sometimes we achieve more by standing on the sidelines. When overwhelmed and bewildered, stay calm and balanced. Time is on your side, as long as you have done what you must. It is a call of wisdom to avoid wasting energy on unprofitable efforts. Rather, when the opportunity presents itself, take time out to gather and garner momentum to strike better at the set time. Quote, "Haste in every business brings failure." Unquote. Herodotus. 7. Work. Quote, "An object will remain at rest or in uniform motion in a straight line unless acted upon by an external force." Unquote. Isaac Newton's law of motion. The common knowledge of science clearly shows anyone ready to be something the clear pathway to becoming what he so desires. For everything remains as it is until acted upon. Book knowledge is good, but action gives better understanding. Every experienced person knows that plans on paper are all smooth and easy, till acted upon. It is in the acting that pure knowledge is attained. Our childish sentiments sometimes manipulate us to believe that work can be substituted by other crooked means to achieve our ends. But we only too soon find ourselves coming back to the rudimentary principle that there is no shortcut to happiness. Rather, it is always a long walk to freedom. Work is the cornerstone of humanity and the bedrock of success in any human endeavor. Work cannot be shifted. Musing, why will anyone want to avoid work? What is a man without work, be it mental or physical? The one caught in hard labor claims that genius is an easier burden. That is, until he becomes involved in the sleepless nights and deep frustrations that genius experiences before its success. The low in thought say that genius achieved overnight success. That is because they are too dense to understand that they are in their state because whoever fails to do the mental work that life demands will surely end up with the menial jobs the earth offers. "He that does not work should not eat," is the biblical command. And if an inheritance feeds you, that in itself disqualifies you from the true blessedness of adulthood. For the mark of wisdom and responsibility is that an individual consistently strives to improve on whatsoever he has inherited, and for that he must work. Self-reliance is of utmost importance in attaining the silver crown of maturity. Book knowledge is good in itself, but can only be fully comprehended by effort, practice, patience, and experience. Books give information. Work gives knowledge. Books stimulate. Action accomplishes, for effort must be added in order to achieve. The one who relies solely on books soon becomes exhausted and overwhelmed with realities. For the distance between what we think we know and what things truly are in practice is as far apart as both ends of a vast city. It is good to learn from others' experiences, as some wise men say, but the ones that quest for greatness must have some experiences of their own. Such will be the cementing factors of their own world-view and recipe for success, for which they alone have the patent rights. They will be the final authority in those truths, and those very insights become their own keys to success. General knowledge takes you to where everyone is going. Personal experience takes you on the path of your own destiny. The road to failure is wide and paved with the stones of good intentions and excuses, while the road to success is narrow and paved with the stones of good thoughts and hard work. The inspiration of genius is brought to reality through work. So also, until the true nature of work is grasped and attention to detail and a quest for perfection comes alive in us, we will continue to do double work, thereby shortchanging ourselves by repeating a job until the mistakes are eliminated. For the world does not pay for effort. It pays for good results. Therefore, let everyone have a genuine desire for attention to detail, hence perfection, which is genius. Love work, for it is the proof that you are sane, for only the sane are called to duty. Quote, "The only place success comes before work is in the dictionary." Unquote. Vince Lombardi. 8. Happiness. There can never be an exclusive treaty on happiness, for happiness itself is relative. What constitutes one person's happiness may cause another's pain or indifference. Civilization teaches us to attain our happiness in a way whereby our means do not hamper or hinder the other person from achieving their own ends. Those who live in their self-defeating sentiments are constantly deluded that their happiness rests with others or on outward things, and in the light of reality they suffer continual disappointments, regrets, and pains. If one is to find lasting happiness, there must be no leaning on or clinging to things which at any moment can be taken away. If an individual cannot find happiness within himself, where then can he find it? Among company? In alcohol? Or in women? He remains a mental cripple and will not walk until he realizes within himself that he must first be complete, and to complete himself he must find his purpose or completely commit to a cause in which he can find fulfillment. The key to happiness is to learn to judge, think, and act for yourself, and to choose your own path in life. Keeping your overall goals in mind makes it easier to navigate through the daily chaos of life, and makes your decision-making much simpler and more rational. By constantly bearing in mind your ultimate target, distractions, which are the conspirators for frustration and disappointment, are well limited. The more people live according to their divine calling, or commit to a cause bigger than themselves, a cause that consumes them mentally, emotionally, and physically, the happier they become. An individual must have his own foundational principles upon which his life revolves, helping him to make progress in his calling and chosen cause. Standing firmly, the events of life are but a boisterous storm hitting dastardly on a house well built. The sounds, the surrounding effects and minor damages might be felt and seen, but the house still stands. This is the pathway to true happiness. We must have an underlying standpoint from which strength, hope, and peace is garnered to face life's challenges and derive constant pleasure from a path we choose for ourselves, by ourselves. In doing this, we will be eternally happy, healthy, and wise. 9. As regards women, from the Book of Proverbs. And I quote, "My son, attend unto my wisdom, and bow thine ear to my understanding, that thou mayest regard discretion, and that thy lips may keep knowledge. For the lips of a strange woman drop as a honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil. But her end is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death, her steps take hold on hell. Lest thou shouldst ponder the path of life, her ways are movable, that thou canst not know them. Hear me now, therefore, O ye children, and depart not from the words of my mouth. Remove thy way far from her, and come not nigh the door of her house, lest thou give thine honour unto others, and thy years unto the cruel, lest strangers be filled with thy wealth, and thy labours be in the house of a stranger, and thou mourn at the last, when thy flesh and thy body are consumed. And say, how have I hated instruction, and my heart despised reproof, and have not obeyed the voice of my teachers, nor inclined mine ear to them that instructed me. I was almost in all evil in the midst of the congregation and assembly. Drink waters out of thine own cistern, and running waters out of thine own well. Let thy fountains be dispersed abroad, and rivers of waters in the streets. Let them be only thine own, and not strangers with thee. Let thy fountain be blessed, and rejoice with the wife of thy youth. Let her be as the loving hind and pleasant roe. Let her breasts satisfy thee at all times, and be thou ravished always with her love. And why wilt thou, my son, be ravished with a strange woman, and embrace the bosom of a stranger? For the ways of man are before the eyes of the Lord, and he pondereth all his goings. His own iniquities shall take the wicked himself, and he shall be holden with the cords of his sins. He shall die without instruction, and in the greatness of his folly he shall go astray. Unquote. Proverbs 5. And I quote, For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instruction are the way of life, to keep thee from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman. Lust not after her beauty in thine heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids. For by means of a whorish woman a man is brought to a piece of bread, and the adulteress will hunt for the precious life. Can a man take fire in his bosom, and his clothes not be burnt? Can one go upon hot coals, and his feet not be burnt? So he that goeth in to his neighbour's wife, whosoever toucheth her shall not be innocent. Men do not despise a thief, if he steals to satisfy his soul when he is hungry. But if he be found, he shall restore sevenfold. He shall give all the substance of his house. But whoso committeth adultery with a woman lacketh understanding. He that doeth it destroyeth his own soul. A wound and dishonour shall he get, and his reproach shall not be wiped away. For jealousy is the rage of a man. Therefore he will not spare in the day of vengeance. He will not regard any ransom, neither will he rest content, though thou givest many gifts. Unquote. Proverbs 6. Quote, For a whore is a deep ditch, and a strange woman is a narrow pit. She also lieth in wait as for a prey, and increaseth the transgressors among men. Unquote. Proverbs 23. And I quote, Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. She seeketh wool and flax, and worketh willingly with her hands. She is like the merchant's ships, she bringeth her food from afar. She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens. She considereth a field, and buyeth it. With the fruit of her hands she planteth a vineyard. She girdeth her loins with strength, and strengtheneth her arms. She perceiveth that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. She layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. She stretcheth out her hand to the poor, yea, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. She maketh herself coverings of tapestry, her clothing is silk and purple. Her husband is known in the gates, when he sitteth among the elders of the land. She maketh fine linen, and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant. Strength and honour are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. Her children arise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praiseth her. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Favour is deceitful, and beauty is vain. But a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. End quote. Proverbs 31. 10. Letter to Neca. Dear Neca, I am sorry I did not respond to your mail as promptly as I should have. In your previous correspondence, you complained about being increasingly depressed and overwhelmed by life's events, and finding yourself alone from friends and family. I remember you shared your ambitions and desires, and bemoaned your current failures, setbacks in events, and disappointments you are experiencing with friends, and you asked if it pays to be good. From experience, it is clear that you are undergoing a vital process for the development of strength of character, and it is your opportunity to catch a deeper insight into the truths of life as you grow from your youthful sentimental inclinations into the clear reality of things in adult life. Everything you experience now is only but a wake-up call to seek and find a higher knowledge, and to apply your heart to proper judgments in mapping a path for yourself in this world. To be depressed and overwhelmed like you are right now is not bad. We have all been there. But to stay in that depression and confusion means you are shutting your mind to the calls of wisdom. You are obviously suspended in the moment in an avalanche of decisions, paralyzed by your unaccomplished and multiple desires. Staying in that state makes even breathing a monumental task. Interestingly, what drives our hope away and frustrates us the most is not that we lose battles with ourselves, but that we keep losing battles to others. It is a known fact that most of our desires are either to impress others or to conquer ourselves. My dear friend, I urge you to take it easy on yourself. The gains you get from trying to please people are usually less than the efforts you put in. Take a deep breath and inhale the refreshing oxygen of hope to fill your lungs with optimism. Be anxious about nothing. The future is always uncertain for everyone, for nobody is really promised tomorrow. God gives us life in days. I quote, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? And why do you worry about clothes? See how the flowers of the field grow. They do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you that not even Solomon, in his entire splendor, was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today, and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, will he not much more clothe you, you of little faith? So do not worry, saying, What shall we eat? Or, What shall we drink? Or, What shall we wear? For the pagans run after all these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. End quote. Jesus. Take the wisdom of the psalmist that prays, Teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom. The present is joyful, rewarding, and satisfying. Make plans for the future and work towards them, but avoid anxiety, which profits nothing and breeds depression. When the what-ifs of your expectations fill your heart, throw your uncertain tomorrow to a certain God. For he says, and I quote, Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavily laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. End quote. Now, about asking if it pays to be good, I welcome you to the altar where sentiments must be sacrificed. In our early years, we hold on firmly to rules and have clear lines between virtue and vice. But as we enter adult life, we are perplexed by the complexity of morality, which stems from the fact that we humans seek the best of life, trying to achieve this by all necessary means, while trying to be at peace with men and our Creator. Quote, There is nothing absolutely right or wrong, but thinking makes it so. Unquote. Shakespeare. Through careful thoughts and taking everything into proper account, we soon realize that if we choose to practice all that seems to be virtuous, we may likely ruin ourselves. For some vices are necessary to afford us security and prosperity in this present world. Therefore, I advise that no virtue or vice should be practiced in its extremes. I quote, All things I have seen in the days of my vanity. There is a just man that perishes in his righteousness, and there is a wicked man that prolongs his life in his wickedness. Be not righteous overmuch, neither make thyself overwise. Why shouldst thou destroy thyself? Be not overmuch wicked, neither be thou foolish. Why shouldst thou die before thy time? It is good that thou shouldst take hold of this. Yea, also from this withdraw not thine hand, for he that feareth God shall come forth of them all. End quote. Ecclesiastes 7:15-18, the Holy Bible. Through my window, I beheld a man who, without a constant source of income, held a reputation for generosity. Gradually, he has become broke and despised, even by the same people he once helped. Parsimony is a vice, but most wealthy men I know have a reputation for it, despite the much they give. For beggars are never satisfied, and it is impossible to please humans. When you are rich, you become money, and are no longer a fellow human to most people. But no matter how rich one is, Incomes are always limited in comparison to our wants and people's demands. Therefore, some measure of control, which might bring one a reputation as being frugal, may suffice for you to avoid becoming incapable of being generous to the ones who you must be generous to. Humility, friendliness, and kindness are good, but a boss who pursues these at all times may end up running his company aground when his staff ride on that because they see it as a sense of weakness, and they fall into lousy conduct. Likewise, a leader who, for the sake of humility, maintains no boundaries with his followers, will finally learn the bitter lesson that all familiarity breeds contempt. I must, however, differentiate between what is morally right, what is morally wrong, what is clear and outright wickedness, and those categorized as criminal by all civilized societies. That a person be pitiless, treacherous, and grossly immoral can bring him some measure of temporary good and power, but not glory. For when life ends, most of our regrets, sorrows, and ruins are from our immoral ways, making of sublime effect the eternal law that a man reaps what he sows. Do not envy the ones who consider more attractive the enslavement and oppression of their fellow humans. They hurt mankind for their selfish interest, but do not realize that their chances grow slimmer, and there shall be no hiding place for them from their Creator when their time in this ephemeral world is done. For what does it really profit a man to gain the whole world for 100 years, and then suffer the languish of his soul for eternity? For terrestrial things are of no value to the celestial world. In dealing with people and making decisions, know that there is no one way in life. Life is a roundabout with multiple turns, and the choice of where you go always depends on you. But know that for any path you choose, that path has its own blessings and sorrows, potholes, speed humps, and highways. Humanity surges with an inexplicable crescendo of passion, grief, and fear, and it is blown by the storms of anxiety. Oh, troubled one, whatever condition you find yourself in now, please know that, through the desert of life, there are hidden oases of peace, and no matter how dark the night is, the sun will surely rise in due time. So keep your thoughts watchful, fearless, faithful, patient, pure, and positive, and say to your soul, peace, be still. I quote, "Go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As much as it is possible without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even the dull and the ignorant. They too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain and bitter, for always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Put caution to your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself. Especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Take kindly to the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here, and whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive him to be, and whatever your labours and aspirations in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace with your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful. Strive to be happy. End quote. Max Ehrmann, Desiderata. I sincerely hope this serves, my dear Neca. Kind regards, Christopher Uyi. 11. The rest of it. The one who seeks to attain anything in this world must sincerely quest to find the shield of truth to ward off the lies of sentiments which conspire with assumptions to bring him down to destitution, depression, and frustration. There are many more issues not discussed here, about which an individual must think and act on in the reality of what they are to attain and accomplish in life. However, if anyone will master some of the points pertaining to the issues above, and align their thoughts to be in tune with reality, any less intelligent person will grow to dominate in the realms of money, respect, and power, and find happiness and many more things as they may so desire. Following below are extra points to be included in your mental arsenal for a more robust life. They are 50 thoughts that I have, through meditation and experience, absorbed, and now share with you for a happy life. Lead by example. Wisdom and hard work are no guarantee of wealth. We all need God's mercy. Go easy on yourself sometimes. Never make a permanent decision from a temporary situation. Anger is always bad. Grace makes work easier. You can never be too wise not to make a mistake. Always keep some cash. Cash is still king, but do not worship it. It is the little things you miss that bring you down. Never share your secrets. Love your wife. Choose your mistress carefully. Never threaten your enemy. Never embarrass your friend. Play fair, but hold the piper. Avoid assumptions. There is power in simplicity. Fear God. When there is a bond, stay loyal. Bend the rules when needed. Break them if you must. There is always a price to be paid. Gifts are more expensive. Forgive, but never forget the lesson of a betrayal. Adore your wife. You need her to be great. Nothing lasts forever. Be patient. Be firm. Avoid greed totally. Keep your answers simple. Never be complacent. Peace is the guarantee there will be war. Follow your gut when in doubt. Take advice, but think for yourself. Man disappoints, God appoints. When embarrassed, laugh. If they have nothing to offer you, then they are taking something from you. Some women are from the other side. If she falls too quick, she is after something more than you are aware of. There is no point playing small unless it is all you've got. If your harvest is too small, make it a seed. Deeds do not lie. Jesus Christ is enough. When you are rich, there is nothing you can do to please the poor. You have already offended them enough by being rich. Consistent effort in the right direction is one of the building blocks of success. If they are not for you, they are against you. You always have a choice. Fear nothing. Every man's ignorance is his devil. If there is a choice, always choose the best. Direction is more important than speed. I quote, "And further, by these, my son, be admonished. Of making many books there is no end, and much study is a weariness of flesh. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment, with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil." End quote. Ecclesiastes 12:12-14. The Holy Bible. About the author. Christopher Uyi is an economist, business strategist, and life coach. He is currently the principal partner of I-54 Consulting Limited. A strong believer in educational excellence and philanthropy, he is the founder of Uyi Christopher Ibasehi Oria Foundation. Chris is a prolific writer who, in his words, does not write for fun, but writes to deliver a message. He has published several well-acknowledged articles. Life, Sentiments and Realities is his first published book. Other titles available by the author: Through the Fire. Uncontrolled desires, passions, and sorrows constitute the world of darkness where the fire burns. And in the presence of darkness, people stumble and fall. But when we let the light in, stumbling is minimized. Through the Fire sheds light on the causes of our struggles and pains, so that we may minimize them. In this book, Chris offers the world a sublime philosophical path to finding success and eternal peace. You have been listening to an audiobook recording of Life, Sentiments and Realities by Chris Uyi, narrated by Adrian Galley. Copyright 2014, Chris Uyi. Production copyright 2023, Useful Stories. This is the second of a two-part audiobook recording. The first half can be found elsewhere on this site.